Hi, welcome. I'm Hava Golden. I'm here to show you how to see and solve and thus trigger freedom. What's the premise? The premise is you can't solve what you can't see. If you can't see it, you can't solve it. So imagine this is you on a bad day. You're trying to say hi, but you're trying to look good and can't. Then it starts. Two people are out sick. A presentation is due. Sales are slumping. The network is down. How are you going to get out of this? You ask yourself. Silence. Questions. No answers. And then the final blow. The meeting cancels. You can no longer see at all. Have you ever had a day like this? You're exhausted. The problems are messy. They keep you on edge, even in your sleep, right? But you have to solve the problem. So, how can you solve this problem? You don't even know what it is. And what if you're solving the wrong problem? There's a secret. What is the secret? When you're feeling stuck, just look. Clear your head and see the crux of the problem. Right there in the middle, the essence. See the essence. And while you're doing the right thing, what is everyone else doing? Everyone else is focusing on this little area over here, which is the right answer. For sure, the right answer. But they're jumping to conclusions. And guess what? The conclusion falls apart. Not only that, it was the wrong problem. And while they're having nightmares, what will you be doing? You will be taking time, defining the problem, and seeing the source. And what's the source? The source is right here. Remember we said the essence? That's where it is. And it takes a while to see it. And how do you see it? What do I mean by looking? I use Dan Rome's 6 Ways of Seeing. They're very, very informative and special. It's a genius process. We can see who, draw your boss, maybe another employee, or what. Who or what. Maybe it's a document, a box, whatever. Who or what. Then where. Where is the problem? We don't know. We're looking. So it seems like it's maybe there's something going on over here at this person's desk. Maybe that. Or maybe it's over here in this file cabinet. Remember those? Those things you haven't looked in for the last 5 years. They have paper and paper and paper. You don't even know what it is anymore. Or maybe it's outside. Maybe it's not even inside. So you look here, you look at the desk, and you look outside. Or how many? That's another question we can ask. Is there just a little? Is there a lot? Or is there more than a little and less than a lot? This tells you how many. Or there's the timeline. We can look at when. When? This is a week ago. There were none. And then Wednesday there were 6. And today, Friday, there are 2. What happened? How did we get here? We can look into that. This is when. Now there's how. How? I'm going to look into the winter activity here in Chicago of people jumping into the ice cold lake. Can you imagine? It's cold enough in Lake Michigan in the summer, much less the winter when there's ice on the lake. So here are 1,000 people with their teeth chattering. They jump into the water and they're freezing. They're freezing. Now some, maybe they're new at it, and they jump right back out. Right back out. And the others, they stay in there. They have something to prove, and they stay in. But I guarantee you, every one of them is going to get out at some point, and they're going to wrap themselves in a nice warm towel, and they're going to go home to a warm house and have maybe some hot chocolate. So this is the how. This is the flow chart. How the freezing person, how they got cold, and how they got warm. Now the why. The why. You have an X, and you have a Y. And over here is something going on, something kind of big. Over here also something going on. And here, and it crosses over into the other side. And maybe someone finds later a little tiny occurrence that no one notices. Now it could be this caused this caused this. But we're getting much better at seeing, aren't we? We're seeing who, where, how many, when, how, and why. These are Dan Rome's 6 Ways of Seeing. Now, don't have to take my word for it. Let's consider what Einstein would say. What does he say? He says, if I had an hour to solve a problem, I would spend the first 59 minutes. Imagine that, defining the problem. Now we're getting somewhere, defining the problem. Who sits and defines the problem for 59 minutes? And only the final minute solving it. So here is where we are focusing. We're focusing on defining, seeing the problem. You discover the crux, you see it. That's how you discover the crux. How did you see it? Remember, we talked about how many, we talked about where, we talked about who, and looking at all of these different ways, we start to see. And when we see with our own eyes, aha, this is what we're looking for. I see it. And when I see it, I get it. And I know exactly what to do. And doing is exactly, again, what we're looking for. What are we going to do to solve this problem? We're going to get to work. Because we see it, we get it. And what is our first action? We're going to sleep well that night. When we get it, we sleep very, very well. Now remember those trees. We're going to review for a second. Remember those trees, those questions? Well, we're going to get out of that box. Not only that, we're going to get rid of the box and the questions. Because if you can see it, you can solve it. And that gets rid of the questions. When you see it, you're happy. When you solve it, you're happy. And when you're happy, you trigger freedom. And freedom is exactly what we're looking for here. Freedom, more time, more energy, more thinking capacity. When you see, you trigger freedom. Again, I'm Hava Golden, and I've really had the pleasure today of describing this process to you of seeing. But let me ask you, do you see what I'm saying? What's the point? Do you want to take a stab, a quick stab? Here's the point. The point is the point. We want to see the point. I will help you see it so you can solve it. So take down my information and give me a call. Here's my phone. Here's my email. Here's my LinkedIn. And here's my website, which is not quite done. Here's my timeline with a lot of space in between. Here's where I want to get, and here's where I am. But you can go there, and I do have an ebook there for you. You can download it, look at it, play around with it, see it, and solve it. I really hope to hear from you. Thank you so much for joining me. If you see it, you can solve it.